All right, everyone. Speed bans. We've only got a few done for George Foreman Grill. It's Kiana and Varys, and for Casually Formed, it's Yon so far.
Yep. Hello, my name
Hi,
is
everyone.
Natural. Yeah, and I'm back with Funky here, and we're gonna be casting this first game of George Foreman Grill versus Casually Reformed. We're back for the second day of this weekend, of this Easter weekend. Happy Easter to any of you that are, of course, having Easter. As we see, the Kaisa band is going to be the last band for the first phase of the George Foreman Grill team, and the Samira for Casually Reformed.
A lot of Casual Reforms bans seem very targeted at George Foreman. Dirty Phil, the top laner for George Foreman, excellent name by the way, has been spamming York and solo queue. The mid laner has been spamming Yon. ADC has been playing a lot of Samir, so very targeted bans. But it is just going to be the gangplank first pick for probably Dirty Phil.
Yeah, most likely going to be up in there in the top lane. As we see, Jinx going to be picked in for Casually Reformed. I really like Jinx. I think she's really, really strong. Honestly, in my opinion, probably the strongest AD carry of this patch. As we will see Thresh going to be locked in for Casually Reformed. Thresh, of course, giving that extra mobility to the AD carry that we love to see. Jinx Thresh kind of works in a similar way as Aphelios Thresh does. Basically, Jinx's objective is to kind of take down turret plates, and if she gets that turret down, of course, she gets her reset, and Thresh can bail her out in case she needs to. As we see on the blue side here, the pick is going to be the Senna, actually. We'll have to see if that's going to be a fasting Senna or not. Of course, I hope you remember, or I hope you don't remember, yesterday's game with the Senna Vladimir. I sure hope we don't see that again.
Nah, best pick. It's coming out right now. Watch.
Please no, and end me of my misery, please. Um, no, but I very much do not think so. I have faith in George
No.
Foreman, as there will be the actually, which is Senate Cho'Gath was actually played 2 days ago, I believe, by my memory fails me. I believe it was in the LEC, or was it in the LCK? I'm not sure. But
I
anyways, this is most likely going to be fasting Senna with a farming Cho'Gath down in the bot lane.
honestly, I don't hate it into the Jinx. Thresh, Senna, of course, very oppressive in late. Lane without a way to get on her. Normally Thresh would have the hook, but with Cho'Gath standing in front, Senna's going to be able to output a lot of damage, and Cho'Gath is going to be so tanky that Jinx really isn't going to do any damage to Cho'Gath pre like level 11.
Yeah.
But for now, we have the Scion picked to counter the GP in the top lane, which isn't normally one of the counter picks you see, but it might just be a comfort matchup.
Man, I absolutely love this. These are normal looking drafts. This is
Ah,
absolutely fabulous. I am so happy. As we see, the Sejuani ban is going to come down. That is a targeted ban, of course, to the jungler of Casually Reformed. As a Volibear as well is going to be the ban for George Foreman's jungler, excuse me. As we see the last two bans coming in here for both sides, we'll have to see how it goes.
yeah. If the TF I was gonna say TF would be a really good ban. Mid lane for George Foreman Grill plays a lot of TF, and TF can be devastating, especially paired with something like a GP that they can double alt around the map and have so much pressure, even triple alt, I guess, if you count Senna. So the TF bans make a lot of sense. And LeBlanc being the final ban for George Foreman, I'm guessing that's a comfort or a targeted ban. Ban. I'll just check the OPG. Yeah, it was. The mid laner does play a lot of LeBlanc. Makes sense to get that out there for the comfort pick.
Yeah, LeBlanc not in the best spot for the entire season. Actually, quite frankly, I haven't seen LeBlanc be in a very good spot. As Hecarim is going to be picked for Casually Reformed. Hecarim obviously very strong. Don't really need to tell that to anyone. Um, has man, I at this point I'm expecting Casually Reformed picks up some kind of AP mid laner. As for now, they don't really have any AP threats. Hecarim does do a tiny weedy bit of AP damage, but it's definitely not a threat. As Fiddlesticks is going to be picked for the George Foreman Grill. I like that a lot. I think Fiddlesticks is pretty strong, especially at this level of play where Vision is a lot more difficult to play around, and stuff like Fiddlesticks can still very easily surprise teams. I love seeing the Fiddlesticks come out. I think it's a really good pick. And now we should be seeing the mid laner for George Foreman Grill, and it's going to be the
At
Corki.
I think that was a really good choice. There is so much frontline on the side of Casually Reformed with Scion and with the Hecarim. But combined, they're going to have about 10k HP late game. They need something. They needed something AP to do consistent damage. I think Corki, with his strong ability to spike mid game with the package, is going to be the perfect answer to that.
Yeah, honestly, I like it quite a bit. Corki, of course, does have those timed points in the game where he has those power spikes around his package. As we see, the Rise is going to be the last pick for Casually Reformed. So a lot of scaling on both sides. A nice balance of AP and AD damage on both sides. Some engage, some late game damage. I really like both comps. If I had to say, uh, Casually Formed is probably a little easier to execute. It has like a very front to back style of team fighting. It's pretty much like Hecarim goes in and protect the Jinx, and you win the team fight. While George Foreman does need to execute on the Fiddle ult to actually be able to win. But again, both compositions is looking really good and really interesting. So I'm really looking forward to it. As I believe we will be going on a short break as we wait for the competitive delay to kick in. All right. Looks like we're finally in game.
Alrighty, yeah. Game one, CR versus GFG should be a good one. And
I'm
I'm
definitely
so
hoping so.
surprised that we're not seeing an invade level one. I feel like that's all that happens.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really, really hyped for this one. Let's get into action here. It looks like George Foreman Grill might be looking for a little bit of a stack here. Probably just going to try and dissuade the Thresh invade, of course. That hook can be very disruptive at these level 1 fights. But it doesn't look like Casually Reformed aren't going to do anything too spicy at this level. Just going to 5-point it.
No, I don't blame them. They have a very good scaling comp. They spike really hard about mid game. If they get behind early, then it'll be really hard for them. So it's really important that they don't get behind in doing things like this just to make sure that no one gets caught out. It's a pretty proactive move to guarantee some safety in the early few minutes.
Yep. Honestly, looking at both these teams, there's very strong scaling options on both teams. The GP scales very, very well. The Fiddle, not too sure about that one. Haven't seen it in a very long time, but I assume it scales pretty well. Corki isn't the best scaling option, but on the other hand, Senna and Cho'Gath, of course, both have pretty much infinite scaling.
Yeah.
Um, while on the other hand side, we have Scion, who also has infinite scaling. Rise, who is extremely good late game, as well as Jinx, who is also extremely good at late game. So we have, and Thresh actually has, technically infinite scaling as
Yeah,
well. So we
yeah.
have 4 infinite scaling champs in this game.
Is that all? No, there's Vigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Just a little bit of trades going down bot lane. Shouldn't lead to too much. The minion's going down here, but yeah, no hook.
Very good level 1 trading here, though. Jinx, Harley, abusing a lot of the additional range that Fishbones gives. And a bit of a fight here in the top lane. Daniel did get his level 2 first, but it doesn't look like the camera wants to show us anymore. But Bog, he's stepping up way too far, and that hook is very, very close. It's just going to brush those Cho'Gath cheeks as he's going to run away with his life.
Yep. Bog almost getting taken out there. That would have been very bad for the side of GFG. One of the big parts about these Senna lanes is that they're supposed to be rather secure. Most of the time, you're not getting kills early. You can sometimes bully them out, but you should never kill them. So forcing the flash out early is going to be really beneficial to CR going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, with that Thresh, Thresh Jinx has very good CC chain. You can put the chompers right in front of the hook, and Thresh pulls his target backwards or towards him 2 times. And if you manage to get him in the chompers, then you have the chompers on top of it, and then you can flay. It's a very good CC combo. And as Bog, of course, is playing that immobile Cho'Gath, if he's out of position again without his flash, it might be a bit of a problem. But I guess we'll have to see about that.
Yeah. Got a while before he can get those tank stats and become this indestructible thing to Jinx. Indestructible monster that Shogath can be. But to focus attention to a little bit more of the mid, the mid matchup right
But
now.
not
No,
might be able to, as Bog is going to be
the
taken down
camera
with the
agrees
flay.
with me.
Well, never mind. I guess we won't be able to see that too much. But yeah, Bog is going to go down. As we did see him walk into the into flay range. Murphy flayed him into those chompers. Got caught by the chompers exactly as I was talking about. And he does have the teleport, so he's going to teleport back to lane. That's not going to do too much though, as okay, Caesar is going to try and get the W, but not going to manage to. And Harley is just going to take the lantern, and he's not actually going for a reset. He's staying in the lane for now.
Yeah, that's bad. He should be resetting right now. It's not really another way to put it. He has a strong chance of being dove now. The jungler is coming, so I'm guessing he is waiting for the Sean gang. Stork is around though. He's at
It
Krubs.
looks like
It's not going to
Sean
be
is
here in
going to.
time.
Okay, the devastating charge is not going to hit on Ziz. Okay, but there's some exchange of cooldowns here, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any kill quite yet. Fiddlesticks, of course, not having that much gank potential before his level 6.
Yeah, not too bad. But now CR in a little bit of a or tricky spot rather. But do just walk out in the end. But this is what I was talking about right now. GFG has able to get vision control. They should be really easy for them to be pushing in this bot wave and making sure Harley loses CS because they have such an HP advantage. The camera unfortunately does still just want to talk about top lane and any other place that I'm not talking about. So if in the top lane, it is just going to be more of a farming situation for both of them. Both of them just looking to scale up and get as strong as possible for late.
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, of course, Sion, is that very stable pick in the top lane. He's always going to stabilize those matchups. Excuse me. As we do have a bit of a slow push here coming in for critically reformed sides, casually formed, excuse me. They should definitely be looking for a reset here, and this slow push should guarantee them a nice, good reset. Though it looks like George Foreman is going to be holding this wave. Casually foreign, perhaps maybe should have tried to crash that wave in. As we
Yeah.
do see Swark here coming in for a bit of an invade on the Raptors. We'll see the TP coming in from Royal on the mid lane. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So GFG now is able to set up a freeze in the bottom lane, which looks like they did right now. And additionally, they know that they have the TP advantage in both lanes, so it's on GFG now. There's so much opportunity for them to make a play bot lane with TP, with the deep ward and get some kills. Alternatively, GFG could look for an early drag, which is what they should be doing with the TP advantage. And it is look like Schwark is going up to ward and mess about in there.
He's going to get hit by the death sentence. He is going to manage to get on top of Harley. Harley is that lantern out, as well as going to use the heal. Shork is coming over the wall using his ultimate. He's getting good damage down, but is it enough? It doesn't look like it. While Royal is going in. Oh, but the death sentence hits onto Zers. But he is invisible in the mist right now. Another Q is going to hit, but the zap is going to actually finish the kill. And that's going to be the second kill going over to Casually Reformed.
You see, the thing about TP advantage is it's really good when you use it. Dirty fails
Top
still with
of
his
Harley.
TP up. He
Harley
definitely should have
that
TP'd in
lantern out,
change the fight.
as well
He
as going to
does
use
get
the
the
heal.
ultimate off.
Shork is coming over the wall using his ultimate. He's getting good damage down, but is it enough? It doesn't look like it. While Royal is going in. Oh, but the death sentence hits onto Zers. But he's invisible in the mist right now. Another Q is going to hit, but
Saris was just way too late on the roam, didn't have package. Royal was able to get there much earlier, and just kind of due to sloppy rotations, it's GFG giving up another kill.
yeah, agreed. The TP probably could have been used to a better advantage there, but it looks like the Drake will be going to Casually Reformed, as Zizor is actually going to get hit by another death sentence. He is able to E away from that one, but you got to be careful. Those death sentences are, they're literally a death sentence
Yeah.
if you don't have flash, so I got to be careful about that one. Did expand the heal to get out of that one. As we do see a bit more trading here in the top side, but as we mentioned, it's a very stable matchup, so we don't really expect that much action to go down up there.
As we look more to the bot lane, we can see Murphy's doing the smart thing. He's getting some vision control in the bot side. He's getting it there, so they should know that Fiddlesticks isn't around bot side, and that'll allow them to do a lot of things. But I'm hoping we can see some roams from Murphy. He's in such a good lane position right now. Yeah, Murphy and Harley's backing, and Murphy's going to roam right away. Yeah, it's a great use of time and tempo. Just as soon as you know the Fiddlesticks isn't in the bot side, head to mid from bot, and you'll very often get a kill, especially if you can coordinate it with the jungler.
Yeah, as we will see, Sean and Murphy here are going to come up to the mid lane, and Sheris, you're way too far up in this lane, and there is Dune. I think he realizes that and doesn't even use the flash. Honestly, the flash wouldn't have helped him that much there. Yeah, looking a little overextended there, especially not knowing where Murphy is as well as Sean. So he's going to be punished very effectively there by Royal as well as Sean and Murphy.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a predictable play. Sears probably should have been in position for that, but in the end he wasn't. So that is going to be another kill by CR. Sears been doing such a great job this game of playing around vision and finding ways to surprise the enemy. It is really commendable for them. But even
We do see
now
the
they're in
GP ult
trouble.
coming down here, as well as the Fiddlesticks ult is going to come down. The Fear is going to connect. Do they actually have the damage to finish them, though? That's the question. Yes, they do. Senescu will take the first kill. Murphy is going to go golden, but that's only for a short while before the Senna ultimate takes him down.
For them. But even
We do see
now,
the GP
great
ult coming
gank and
down here, as
set
well
up
as the
by the side of
Fiddlesticks ult is
GFG.
going
They
to come
threw
down.
down
The
the
Fear
GP
is
ult
going
to
to
synergize it
connect.
with the
Do they actually have
Fiddlesticks
the
ult.
damage to
You
finish
come
them,
back
though? That's
going
the
on.
question. Yes,
Was the
they
flash on
do.
Jinx? Easy
Senescu will
kill.
take the
Wasn't the
first
flash on
kill.
Thresh? Easy kill.
Murphy is
And
going
also
to
the
go
most
golden,
heartless Sen
but
ultimate
that's
I've
only
ever
for a
seen.
short
It was
while.
hard to watch. But a good play by GFG.
Yeah, absolutely. That one is brutal. As they did have a vision in their river bush, but I believe the GP ultimate caught them off guard.
Yeah.
And they didn't manage to quite. They kind of got ran down by, of course, the Senna and the GP. Kind of provide a lot of that slow and movement speed buffs to their allies. Well, the GP doesn't, but the Senna does. You know what I mean.
I do.
I see a bit of trading here go down. If we actually get a
Oh,
fight, yes, we do. Royal is going to throw the Rune Prison down, but both mid laners are very comfortable just exchanging their HP bars as well as their cooldowns. And it looks like Royal and Ceres, excuse me, are still going to be just waiting in lane.
oh,
As Zizzer is
oh.
going to be using his teleport. That sentence is a bit early, but I guess that's okay.
Uh,
Bog is getting into flare range again, but I guess he
yeah.
doesn't care too much.
He's
As we see
getting.
Fiddle here, just walking his way down to the Gromp. Okay, not much going to happen over there.
Yeah. Cameras a league of trolling us. As
Oh,
Fiddle,
never mind. I just cursed it. He just walks into the bush. He ults him, and Daniel is ult his way out of there, but he's going to get body blocked by a Schwark. He's going to have to use his flash to get out of that one. At least he'll be alive, and it looks like he's just going to decide to stay in lane and try to pick up some more CS. As Harley is going to get hit by the Q, but nothing else. Hecarim is looking for a possible gank angle here. He does know the Fiddlesticks is top lane, but it doesn't look like the gank will be executed quite yet.
that might be smart. They do know that both Sierras and Dirty Field have TP. A dive probably would have resulted in just the double TP. So a good heads up play by the side of CR. I like the way they're playing. They're not taking almost any risks. They're just doing things that are very low variance, very high probability, and they're getting small advantages. They did have the misplay where they got double killed bot lane, and that is going to cost them a lot. But if CR keeps playing like this and stop making those very obvious mistakes, they're on a good path to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen at this point, we've seen a lot of even exchanges in gold here, as the gold is still pretty much even. As it looks like this Drake is going to go towards George Foreman Gaming uncontested, which is a little surprising, as Infernal Drakes are pretty strong. But it looks like casually reformed, respecting the fact that they don't have that much vision control over the dragon, are just going to be happy to let that one go. The state of the game is pretty much dead even at this point. And, we talked about the scaling quite a bit. The scaling is pretty good on both sides, so I guess we'll have to see which team manages to simply execute better these team fights.
Yeah, no, it is notable, however, that CR giving up the Drake does kind of indicate that they are more down with the scaling comp. We've seen Royal play Rise in the past, and he can be an absolute monster on it. So, in terms of the hyper late game, CR evidently favors themselves a little bit, and I don't blame them. Jinx, Rise are going to be so hard to stop, and what's scary about Rise is he's almost at his first big power spike. He's already got the Leandries. He's been farming rather well, and he's got the tier fully stacked soon. In another 3 or 4 minutes, Rise is going to have his fully stacked tier item, and at that point, it's going to be on CR to turn the game around and take the fights they can to win.
Yeah. A little surprised about the Leandries. Usually we do see that. Damn, I always keep forgetting that item's name.
Everfrost?
Everfrost, thank you.
Yeah.
As we
Oh,
see Murphy and Harley here coming in for a bit of a rotation, as Torque is going to ult, but he's ulting into 4 people, so that's probably not the ult that you want to take. The Mega Death Rocket not going to be enough to execute him, as this fight is just going to result in no deaths, apparently, as Bog is walking around, but he's out of first Q, so not much that he can do about that. As we see, no kills for now, at least down in this mid lane at this time.
yeah, it was a good try by Sparks to get there in time, but Sean had a really good read on the situation. He was able to pull Spark back in. Spark ended up having to blow his flash and his stopwatch to get out alive, but overall there was no deaths, so not too bad for either side.
Yeah,
Oh, but I might
absolutely.
speak too early when I say no deaths. This is really good for GFG.
Yeah. Murphy is a little too close to Cho'Gath, as he's going to have to flash out of that one. The feast, of course, being available for Bog means that he can execute low health targets, and Murphy was a little scared of his own HP bar there. But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find the kill quite yet, though. Murphy is just going to have to expand his flash, and they do lose the control of this wave. As yeah, I mean, again, the state of the game is pretty even, which makes me excited because we're actually going to see a bit of those late game team fights that can be very, very exciting when this much scaling on both teams, right? What you really want to see is the explosions and the crazy rise damage and stuff. So very excited to see what's happening in this late game. But in comparison to yesterday, not that bloody.
Yeah.
I think on one hand side, it's less entertaining, I guess, but it's also a lot easier to cast, if you ask me.
Yes, no, I can actually do analysis of this game and not just say, oh, hey, look, they're dead. Um,
Yeah.
there is some good high level gameplay going on from both these teams. Both of them are playing rather reserved with their options, um, which is rather interesting. Unfortunately, we can't see how many stacks Sen is at, but it's going to be important right now based off her range. It looks like she's at about 650 range, so that'd be about 40-ish spike souls that she'd be at around this point in the game. It is going to really depend on how many souls she can get if
Oh,
she can follow
wow.
the jungle around.
58 stacks.
Oh wow! All right, dang.
About to hit 60.
Yeah,
So yeah, of course,
even better than
getting
I
that
said.
extra range every 20 stacks, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
going to be feeling pretty good about. Oh, but she
Oh,
gets hit by the death sentence. That extra range isn't going to help you if you're getting hooked into a mega death rocket, as Bog is just going to be death chompered, and oh, he managed to sidestep the zap, but the flay isn't sidesteppable, and that's going to be a double kill going over to Murphy.
Fresh is fed. GG. Go next. No, but as we see, the replay goes back. Just a really nice hook by Murphy, and then a nice play, a bad flash by Zeus to get out. And then at this point, Pog is pretty much dead. It's good. He does use his flash, which is kind of a doomed attempt. Probably shouldn't have done it, but even
Oh, but
now,
as we come back to live, another death sentence hooks, and Sirius is going to have to package his way out of that one. He'll be just fine, though. Man, Murphy is hitting these hooks.
yeah, Murphy doesn't miss, I guess. He's created so many kill pressures. He's 100% KP on the team. The only person that can say that he's made all the plays so far this game. He really has to be commended on how consistent he is with these hooks.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I remember I casted Casually Reformed a while back, and I remember Murphy being an absolute menace on the Thresh. The death sentence minister would be my nickname for him if he doesn't have one yet. So what do you
Yeah.
see? This Drake is actually going to be started by George Foreman and might actually be finished by the time Casualty Reform get there. Though, nope, here they come. It's a
Is up.
devastating charge, and the ultimate is going to come down from the Hecker and manage Fear 3, but there is no damage follow-up, and the counter Fiddle ultimate does so much damage, as well as another Fear is going to land on Harley. He's Flash to Force over the wall, but the damage from the Mega Death Rocket is huge, and Daniel is actually teleported. He's just going to be taken down, though, as there is no backline there to support him. As he's just going to what? I guess he's just going to damage this Drake before he dies. As Harley, you're in a 1v3 situation. I'm not sure if you want to be here. This doesn't look exactly great, but he is going to try, and try he will. But manage he will not, as looks like George Foreman will be able to take down this Drake.
Oh, that interesting play by Harley, but all this was Sean going a little bit too deep. Sean going for the 1v3. All that did was split up his team. He got picked off early and allowed Spork to have a huge ultimate on Fiddle. Bog ended up being tankier than Sean. He could survive longer in the enemy team. So a little bit of miscommunication and a little bit too much bloodthirstiness from Sean means that GFG is going to take this dragon and it's going to be a huge win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Drakes and these types of scale offs are absolutely huge, right? Because the stats from the Drakes are percentage based, so they will give you a lot of stats the further you go into the game. But yeah, that was an interesting fight. Harley actually did have access to the blast cone if you wanted to follow up on Daniel there. I wonder if he took that blast cone and kind of went over the wall after his Mega Death Rocket and helped out. Maybe he could have gotten a reset, and that fight maybe goes into the way of Casually Reformed. But he goes for the safer option. You know, can't blame him too much for that, I guess. Um,
Goes for the
as
safer option and then immediately runs into the enemy team.
Yeah, well, you know, everyone makes mistakes, I guess.
Exactly. At all. It happens. It happens. We've all been.
Yeah, but but yeah, you know, Jinx can pop off in these types of fights if she gets a reset. Unfortunately, the reset didn't, and she just got bursted down. As you see, now the items are looking pretty good on both sides. I mean, again, the gold is 2K at 20 minutes, which isn't huge, isn't insignificant either. But we have to be very attentive to this Fiddlesticks. He is so far ahead of Sean at this point. The CS difference is absolutely massive. It's 46, 47 CS right now. He's coming back. Oh man, he has Rylai's, Zonia's, and that 7-stack Dark Seal. If Casualty or Firm get caught in a bad Fiddle ultimate, it's not looking good.
No, it's not at all. And what's maybe even worse is GSG have 3 teleports available right now. They can split to their content, which is going to make it so hard for CR to establish consistent vision control and be able to stop this Fiddlesticks. Um, the A big part about the last fight was that Daniel used his DP and they fought a 4v5 and they still lost with 30 Phil just staying top lane and getting free farm. He's 20 farm up, he's 2 items. He hasn't even used any of his biscuits, which is funny. But he's rather close to hitting that power spike where he's just going to be able to be one-shotting the Jinx and Rise in the background.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If Harley mispositions in these fights, it's absolutely giga doomed. But the most important part, of course, is going to be his fiddle stakes, right? So Harley does have a lot of range. He can try to stay out of range of that fiddle ultimate. And the thing about fiddle is he's very thematic. He's very in line with his thematics. If you know he's coming, he's not that scary. But it's the surprise component that really throws you off and is going to make you pay. But yeah, you know, we talked about this dirty fill, this gangplank is now sitting on top of. He's going for the Divine Sunder build, which you know I can actually understand and see into this composition that Casual Reformed has a lot of a pretty big beefy front line with the Scion, of course, as well as the Hecarim and the Thresh always have quite a bit of resistances stacked up. So I quite like this GP build that we have here, as we're in a bit of a lull, as both teams aren't looking for Baron quite yet, and next Drake is still 1 minute and 25 seconds away.
Yeah, the next Drake is for sure going to be the big fight. It's probably going to be there's a good chance to be the game decider for the side of CR if GFG is able to get this third Drake, especially if it's either uncontested or on like a hard win in a fight. That's probably just going to be game on game. If they hard win the fight, they can also just rotate to Baron and get that as well. But if CR gives it up in uncontested, that puts them in sole point, and it makes it so easy for GFG to make them force between the Baron or giving them the solo later on in the game.
Absolutely, and one thing that we do have to note about these objective fights is that GFG does have the Cho'Gath with the Feast, and Feast basically being a smite. It's essentially a better smite. It's very hard to contest that. You essentially have to kill or zone the Cho'Gath, or else you are not getting that objective. So GFG is definitely going to be favored in those. Well, I would call them 50-50s, but that's the thing, right? Cho'Gath makes it into a 80-20.
99-10. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be very difficult. But as we see both teams starting to prepare here around the Drake, Sean is still in base, but he will be ponying his way up to this Drake as we have 5 seconds on the timer here. The package is
Hisachi seems to
available.
be going top side. Royal has TP, but Sean is not even close, and they're just going to give this up uncontested despite rotating 3 members to the Dragon. A pretty big misplay by Sean. It's going to cost his team the Drake. And now it looks like GFG is just going to push mid and potentially look for Baron.
Yeah, as you said, a bit of a questionable macro play there. As if they wanted to give it up, they should have been pushing their other objectives on the other side. Maybe try to establish a very good Baron vision, threaten the Baron or something along those lines. Though I do believe that trying to go for a Baron at this time is definitely not a good idea.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
yeah, that's a Giga throw. GP ult comes down on your head, and Fiddle ults on top of you. Just died. You're just died. Yes, I can speak English. No, but seriously, this Drake is going to be very, very big for GFG. They don't have that big of a front line, but the fact that they're at Soul Point now means that they threaten Soul. And if they get that Soul, I mean, the Bog is going to be really hard to kill. Senna is really annoying to kill. She's not hard, but she is annoying to kill. And when she has those extra resistances on top, it just becomes so much more annoying. And even Dirty Phil actually is going to have quite a bit of HP, so he's going to be hard to kill as well. I guess we'll have to see how that plays out.
It's going to be very difficult for the side of CR. If we look at the builds, we see that Jinx went the Kraken Slayer into PD, and now she's going for IE, which means it's probably going to be another like 6, 7, or 8 minutes before she even gets reward Dominic's regards. So it's going to be all on Royal to shred this Cho'Gath. And though he does have the potential to do that, to force your AD carry to not be able to really hit the tank effectively, and to force your mid laner to only be able to hit the tank, it's going to cause some serious problems for CR when they look to fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The itemization could be better there on Harley, but there's nothing particularly wrong with this build per se. But as I say that, yeah, Harley is absolutely dead. He gets hit by one slow by the Senna, and
Not
that's
the build
pretty much
fault,
his
though.
life. Yeah, that's not anything wrong with this build. That's just being in range of Senna is not a good idea, as the glacial augment does come down and it slows you, and because there's so much follow up, right, with the Cho'Gath Q. I mean, you can just get bursted like that very, very easily, as well as they did use the Fiddle ultimate, so I guess they won't have that timer for now, as we do see a bit of a rotation trying to catch Cirrus, but he managed to Valkyrie and flash over both walls, so
He
he's
just
actually going to
broke
manage to
so
get out of
many
there.
ankles. What just
Yep.
happened? That was the Leroy Jenkins escape I've ever seen. Murphy flashing the Mastery 7, because of course, but alright, I guess Cedar's getting out with nothing but a flash. Not bad at all.
Yep. He was in a very sticky situation, but he managed to get himself out with the Valkyrie as well, the flash over the wall. Murphy was trying to predict the Valkyrie, holding his flay there, but Sirius, I don't know if he read it or he was just waiting. I'm not too sure, but he manages to not get canceled out of his Valkyrie that flay. As we do see, again, a bit of a lull stay here, just a lot of farming going around. As their Dirty Phil has almost 10 CS a minute on this gangplank, which is something that we love to see.
Yeah, he's just been a farming machine. There's no one even like been around him all game. I don't think he's hit another champion besides Sion that wasn't with his ultimate, and reaping the benefits. 278 CS.
Although we
Doesn't
do see a fight coming down here in the top lane. Very heavy exchange of HP bar for Ceres, but as well as Royal, actually. He is really low. It looks like both mid laners are really hitting each other very, very hard, as neither of them have resistances for each other.
yeah. Greg
uh,
is in 50 or 40 rather. They both do have TP, but that should be the next objective. That will be the next objective they fight over. And so far, there's not a lot of vision control in that area. GFG has put all of theirs into the Baron area.
Yeah, it is. It is not yet well established. None of these teams actually have any control over the Dragon Pit. We'll see that first control word being put down there by Dirty Phil, and this is absolutely a game-deciding moment for both teams. So this is very important to see how this plays out. As wow, those barrels hurt. Murphy is not a squishy target, and as I say that, he is going to get hit by the Senna W, going to be hit with the GP ultimate, and the package is coming in. Sirius is going to manage to... He managed to get out. Yes, he will, as Daniel is going to fall. Zombie Scion is going to manage... Nope, not... I was going to say that he do a bit of damage, but not really, as that is probably just going to be the soul.
You can't get that late to an objective against a team like Fiddlesticks. We see that they get late, they just get zoned out right at the entrance, and Sayers comes in with a huge package. They're able to pick off Daniel, they're able to pick off Murphy, and the rest of the team has to run because no one outranges the Corky Senna on the side of CR. Very well played by GFG to get vision ahead of time, but very poor by CR to not have it any as well.
Absolutely, and that will be the soul for GFG. And as we return back to live, I believe Daniel died somehow. Or maybe that's just the timer from last fight. But Royal is going to face check this bush, and he's not going to like it, as the series does a lot of damage at this point in the game. Harley's running for his life at this point, trying not to get hit by any of those rockets. Casual Reform are desperately trying to contest this. Are they actually going to manage to? Daniel is quite tanky. Swark is going to be using the ultimate. The Hecarim ultimate is really, really good. That's a lot of fears, but do they have any damage? There's just no follow-up on these engages. Daniel is maybe going to... No, he's not going to be able to find anything as the slows come down and the Zombie Scion is just held at bay. And man, this is going from bad to worse. Royal is still there. He has his HP bar, but is he actually going to be able to do anything? I don't think so. And this looks like a Baron going over to GFG.
It's so hard for Harley to hit anyone on the enemy team. The front line of Daniel and Sean keep going a little bit too far forward, and they're not actually peeling for the side of Royal and Harley. They're the only damage. If you're not peeling for Royal and Harley, they're not outputting damage, and you're not doing any damage. CR keeps misunderstanding the fundamental idea as a comp, and they need to fix it if they can win this. If they want to win this game, they definitely still can, but they need to start peeling back and making sure Royal and Harley are able to survive and output as much DPS as possible.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. I believe that at this point we're past the point of no return.
Yeah, no, it might be too far.
The scaling is just absolutely monstrous on GFG as well, and the fact that they have the Soul and the Baron at this point in the game is going to make things really, really difficult. And yeah, I completely agree. There's definitely a bit of a disconnect there in between the front line and the back line of Casually Reformed. We saw there, the Hecarim engagement is really, really good, but there's just no follow-up, and that's not necessarily the fault of Harley or Royal. It's more just that the positioning isn't favorable for anyone on the team. As we do see, man, they're trying to defend this base. That is going to be the tier 2 falling. The death sentence is going to land on Shorik. That's going to be very good damage. Mega Death Rocket is going to come. He's going to manage to just... Oh, but at least a Devastating Charge picks it up, and that is at least going to be pick and the shutdown going over. But man, that range on Senna is absolutely absurd. Another Death Sentence is going to manage to land on Ceres, but Harley just doesn't have that much damage. Even at 3 items, it's just not enough to burst through this Corki. As you know, I mean, this is the Mountain Soul in action. If there wasn't no Mountain Soul, that death sentence was probably a kill.
Yeah, there's no way that Harley can kill Bog, and there's no way Bog is letting him to get any of his other teammates. 2, 3, and 9, he is so tanky on Shogath, and Harley has no way to get through it. Bog is just gonna run at them, and there's not a lot CR can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is something that we did talk about with the itemization on the Jinx. Here, you know, if you have a Lord Dominic's regards instead of a IE, then maybe you manage to shred a bit more through this front line. But with this IE, you kind of have to hit the back line, and even then, it's very difficult to output as much damage as you would, as the package is going to be available for Sirius, and this might just be the game-ending push. Casualty Reform is 2 inhibitors down. They have 1 tier 2. They have 1 inhibitor turret, 1 inhibitor, 2 nexus turrets, and that's their base.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really, really difficult. As I wonder if we can see how many stacks the Senna has at this point in the game. I'm really curious. And that is going to be 132 stacks. Good lord, that is a lot of stacks. At this point,
she
might...
does have rapid fire. She does have rapid fire.
Yes, she does have rapid fire, but
yeah, rapid fire would make it even. It would make it close to 1,000 range on her first auto.
Yeah, she is. If Caitlyn wasn't enough range, there you go.
Senna now.
Yeah, Senna, and she just autoed like beyond the range of what our observer screen can show. That's just how absurd Senna is at this stage of the game. Of course, Senna did get repeatedly nerfed, but honestly, it doesn't matter when you have this much souls. You're still going to be a menace. As the Fiddle ultimate is going to come down, he's going under the turret. He has the Zhonya's to stabilize himself, but that's not going to be enough. He is going to be taken down. But Bog, he is so tanky. Look at this Cho'Gath, this absolute unit. He is not going down. Harley just disappears out of nowhere. I believe that was from the Senna damage. But holy, this is really difficult to fight back. What am I saying? It's not difficult to fight back. It's impossible to fight back. As Casually Reformed, as it is looking like their first defeat in this best of 3, as the GFG are just going to look to take this inhibitor, and this is a game-ending play. I'm not sure why they're hitting these these minions. I guess they gotta pat those CS scores. Exactly. Yeah, we're patting some stats here before the game ends. Will they actually manage to take down Bog before the game ends? Yes, they will, but that's at the cost of Sean's life, and that is going to be game 1 going over to GFG.